How you doing, Andy?
Good, mate. Yeah,
Christmas jumper day?
indeed. Straight out of Lapland. You know, far be it from me to do something too traditional.
Yeah, it's definitely not your traditional setup.
No, what we got going on over there then?
Super Leeds, of course. You
Super
know me.
Leeds, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was just your birthday or something. But...
Hey, very funny. Always representing.
So, what you got me here for today, then, buddy?
The iPECS Anywhere launch.
Ah, yes. What do you want to know?
Well, a few questions for you, really. First
Okay.
of all, I think the key one: how does it differ from your normal mobile offering?
Okay, so good question. Maybe I would sort of take it back a step, if I may, because some of these folks watching this are going to be like, iPECS Anywhere, what the hell's that? Which is a good question. Obviously, we're rebranding the current iPECS Cloud Mobile solution, and in January we're doing a relaunch, and it's kind of the same service, right? But we've moved across to EE as the foundation network underneath it. So pretty much the same service as we've got today, but quite a few enhancements in the background. And I think one of the key things is eSIM. But yeah, to your point, I mean, it's really about, for me, extending iPECS Cloud out to mobile and remote workers. You know, it is based on a mobile, but I'm kind of keen for people not to think of it as like a mobile service, because it's not really, you know.
Or like an extension of the cloud platform?
Yeah, I think Will did a video a few weeks back with Mark, if you remember, and one of the things he said on there which kind of stuck with me is, you know, you customers invest time, effort and money in rolling out something like iPECS Cloud as their communications infrastructure. And then what do? We go and give our remote and mobile workers a bunch of mobile phones on a Vodafone or an O2 that's completely disparate from that network. And at that point, you know, if you're doing call recording or you've got someone like analytics running in the background, you can't do anything with those mobile and remote workers. So for me, when you're looking at the key differentiators, it's got to be about extending that iPECS Cloud ecosystem, if you want, to incorporate those. You know, if you've got a requirement to record calls, how do you do it if you've got mobile users on a completely separate platform and mobile network? So
you hit the nail on the head there. All calls made and received by those mobile users will be recorded, will be reported on if they're using analytics just like a normal user.
Yeah, I think if anybody's like really confused about it, I always try, and I think, you know, when you and I have talked in the past, we always kind of try and sort of simplify things, really, because this isn't an overly... behind the scenes, right, there's some complexity. Let's not get away from that. But in terms of like the messaging, you know, it's a simple kind of service, really. You know, and if, like you say, if I need to record calls or I've got analytics running, you're extending that out. And that's what this is about, to say. It's about extending that service out to the mobile users, because otherwise they're not part of that, you know. So the end customer's getting a complete 360 view of their staff from a communications point of view, you know. So if you are running analytics and you want to know how many calls are being made, how many calls are being received, calls are being missed, your folks that are out on the road, if they're not part of your cloud ecosystem, you have no idea, do you? Unless you want to go through your bill when you get it every month. And who wants to do that?
You're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So.
And final point on that, you say about recording calls, analytics. What about text messages?
So yeah, we don't, as in the cloud, our cloud platform, but part of the service behind the scenes is we can set up what we call a recording server. So if you have a customer that has a requirement to record calls for compliancy reasons, we can extend that service to SMS. So for a particular end user customer, we set up a recording server. They provide us with an SFTP, a secure offsite server. That information goes into the setup, and then every time an SMS is being sent and received, a copy of that will then be sent out into the secure location. So,
excellent.
You know, it's a nice little kind of value add.
For those compliant industries.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And data allowances, presumably there's still a variety of packages?
Yeah, so we start at 0 because it's the kind of product that some of our partners who are going to be watching this, they might want to implement it as a DECT replacement service, which I think we've already got
we've seen a few
customers
alternatives
doing
going.
that. 2 gigabit, 10 gigabit and then unlimited. So we're changing up the contracts slightly for iPECS Anywhere, but I think...
A bit more flexible.
Yeah, we've been asked, as you well know, we've been asked quite a few times about unlimited data. Always a little bit of a risk, but you know, what is the average consumption? I think they say is about 2 gigabits per
It's
month.
small, yeah.
So we should be fine with that. But yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned eSIM earlier, so there's an eSIM option for those users that are looking to have a multi-SIM deployment in the one phone?
Yeah, so I mean, the current service, it might sort of be one of the little known facts about the current service. We can do it today, we just haven't really advertised it because I think it's going to be much more of a linchpin of this new service as we go forwards. But yeah, I think when you look at pushback we've had on the product in the past where it was only a physical SIM, kind of understand the fact that if you're mid-contract, it's kind of difficult, isn't it, to get out of that contract and
and also the mobile contract might not be coterminous with your telephony contract.
Exactly. So with this, it's not so much of a problem, especially where you've got like folks bringing their own devices into the marketplace. You don't really want to have to use your own mobile number for business purposes and all that. So we can kind of go, well, keep that separate. That's your personal mobile, it's your personal device. Here's a secondary line effectively, and we can do that on eSIM. And excellent. I think as you've seen when we did the test SIMs we've been using in house, the setup is so much easier.
Well, less than a minute.
Yeah.
You sent me a QR code, you scan the QR code, the settings are already there. It was up and running within 30 seconds.
So
very good.
Much better.
And probably the last point from me is thinking about verticals where this might sit. There's the obvious ones, people that need compliancy on all their calls. So anything financial or regulated. Estate agencies, one we've been hit with a few times.
Definitely.
But any other key verticals you see?
Yeah, one of the ones we've looked at and talked about a bit more is things like courier companies, smaller independent courier services. Where the guys are driving around. They're part of a business and they've got back office. Why would you not want to be able to, especially recording calls? If they ever had to contact a customer or something. You've got a record of that conversation as well. I think somebody talked the other day about lone health workers and stuff like that. So anywhere somebody has got a whether it's a team of 1 or 2 or a big team of people that are away from the office. You guys are a prime example, right, for our business.
Definitely.
And with the best will in the world, people say to me, "Oh, but isn't this going to damage your sales of iPECS 1?" Well, I see them as 2 very different products with very different opportunities, but I think you folks in the sales team for me represent sort of one of the key opportunities for this product, particularly when we get to January. So as you know, in January we're going to have the ability to pair iPECS 1 with this mobile service
under the one user license.
Exactly. So if you look at how that would apply to a business like ours, with the best will in the world, you're human beings, right? And when you're out and about talking to our partners on the phone all day every day, the first thought is not to open up iPECS 1 on your mobile.
Especially if you're driving as well.
Exactly, right? So, however, when you're in the office, like you are today for a meeting, you probably will on your laptop open up iPECS 1 if you're going to be making calls. So the key advantage for us there in January when we have the cloud update is that we'll be able to bring that together. So when you're out on the road, your primary device, if you want, is going to be iPECS anywhere. Come into the office, and your primary device will be iPECS 1, but they're all under that one single user. So I think that for me is another key opportunity for us on this.
No, thank you. I think it's a fair to say exciting product launch. Looking forward to it coming very soon. And anything else you wanted to add?
No, just to say to the folks who are going to be watching it, just keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, as they say, I think. But we're looking sort of mid to late January because what we're trying to do is coincide it with our cloud launch, because as you said, we've got that update coming, so it makes sense to bring the 2 things together then. So we've obviously got this video now prior to Christmas, but we'll have something. I guess you and I will come together again in the new year and we'll do a more of a deep dive session like the one we've just launched with PCI.
Not in Christmas jumpers.
I don't think so. It'd be more of the newscaster style. So
Look forward to it.
So that's it.
Thank you, mate.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.